Hi everyone, and welcome back to the Arsenal Fan Theory podcast. Michael's here joining me tonight.
Hi everyone, it's always a pleasure to be here.
And Mike, let's jump straight into that Liverpool result. I think it was a bit unexpected, to be honest. I don't think we were expecting to sit here after a victory like that.
It was very, very unexpected for me, Bren. I didn't expect us to win at all. Like I said, it was I predicted a 3-1 win for Liverpool, and I was being optimistic in my opinion. So yeah, I'm very surprised.
Well, even after that opener from Liverpool, I thought, oh, this is going to be another 5-6 rollicking. I just didn't expect us to keep them out that whole time. Obviously, I did expect Liverpool not to be as alert as they always are because yes, they've got one foot on the beach, but they still had something to play for. They still had that 100 point record chasing City down, but we stopped them from doing that, and this is their third defeat, so they can't talk about being the Invincibles. They can't even be in the same sentence, in my opinion, at the moment anymore.
Yeah, well, Bren, there were quite a few surprising things on the night for me. Our defense was quite solid, which is unheard of these days. You know, the team selections were also quite a surprise for me. Pepe starting on the left wing, Nelson starting, Tierney on centre back, and Saka on left wing back. So we rotated a bit more. We expected us to play our best 11 in Arteta's eyes. And I expected to Liverpool to do more of the rotating, and it was actually quite the opposite. So yeah.
I think what happened, what we saw is, I think Arteta trusts the 11 that he put out, and I think he had this strategy in mind where he was much more defensive because we sat so deep. And what you said about Lacazette, Pepe starting on the left, it was interesting. It was more of a left centre forward than it was really a left winger. Because if you look at Lacazette's starting position, he was deeper than both of the wingers most of the game. So he came back deep, he tracked deep, and you saw the wingers pushing up through the middle, even when we were defending. So for me, it was much more of a 5-2-1-2 type of formation as it was a straight two wingers. So that's probably why we saw the Nelson Pepe combination up top because they're both quite pacey, quite tricky, and they could hit Liverpool on the counter attack, which I think Nelson did much better than Pepe on the night, to be honest.
Yeah, no, I agree with you, Bren. It does look like I said, played kind of in like a false nine role, which
Mm.
seems to really suit him. We know how good his older plays, we know how good his link up plays, and he's been on good form. He's been back to his old goal scoring ways. He's the Lacazette that we've come to know and love. But another surprise for me is actually to see Pepe starting on the left side and Nelson on the right, because we've seen Nelson start on the left before, maybe not for us, but when he was on loan last season. And Pepe, to me, is an out and out right sided player, well, right winger, as I would say. So, yeah, I thought at least that would have been a swap, but I was very impressed with the performance. Even though we only had 31% of the possession and we were defending the whole game, I didn't expect us to keep Liverpool out.
Yeah, well, it seems to me I'm the most negative out of the group at the moment. Well, because yes, I've seen on Twitter, I've seen on Instagram a lot of positive feedback regarding the result, the grit, the fight, the fighting spirit that Arsenal's lacked over the last few seasons. But look, I'd prefer a win like this than a loss like we had against Tottenham a week ago. Oh, but I don't know. It wasn't an enjoyable game to watch. I didn't enjoy our team getting battered up and down the field. Yes, we showed some grit. I think there were a few admirable performances, like we mentioned. Lacazette played well. I think Nelson had a pretty good game, and I think someone like Holding really put his hand up for the selection on Saturday. We'll get into that a bit later. I just didn't enjoy it. I know Liverpool's a much better team than us, but I didn't see as many positives as I see going around on Twitter, especially at the moment.
Well, Bren, well, I think it's easier for me to be positive, more positive about this match is going into it, I wasn't positive at all, not at all. I didn't see us. I didn't see any chance of us winning. I saw Liverpool dominating, and like I said, I thought 3-1 was being optimistic. So when they scored the first goal, you said you saw 5-6-0 coming. I saw that even before kickoff. So to sit there and watch Liverpool dominate us is exactly what I was expecting. So it's
Mm.
so to get the result that we did is makes it a lot easier to be positive about the performance.
All right, Mike. I think let's wrap up the Liverpool game and let's jump into the player ratings. I think we can discuss, individual players as we go through the ratings, as we usually do. So, let's go to Emi Martinez. What was your thoughts of Martinez on the game and on the night?
Martinez has been a real standout performer for me since he's come into the team. There was one nervy moment where Firmino chased down one of his kicks, but
Mm,
nothing came from it. And I don't think there's too much he could have done about the goal that was scored. And again, he made a few very good saves. I definitely thought Salah was going to equalize for them.
mm.
I think it was early in the second half, and he's really been putting his hand up. He's going to give Arteta a selection headache next season when Bernd Leno is fit again. So
Um,
I'll
yeah,
give Emi an 8 out of 10.
I agree. I think Emi had an outstanding game again. I think in the 95th minute, he had a save where Trent Alexander-Arnold had a shot deflected, which he just kept out by his fingertips, which was very important. One thing I need to criticize him a bit on tonight was that his distribution wasn't as good as always, and I think that's one of the things that he's always stood above Leno. So he put us in trouble a few times. I think actually the goal came from his one of his clearances or kicks, goal kicks, where Robinson beat Cedric to the ball, and they sprung the counter attack basically. But yeah, no complaints. Otherwise, I think Martinez is definitely putting his hand up, and Leno's got to come back and fight for his place.
I
On
agree.
that note, Rob Holding. I think Rob probably has at a 6.5. He was very solid, I think, throughout the match. I just feel that on the first few minutes, Sadio Mane had him running in circles for a while, and I think for the goal, you could have just sticked with Mane a bit better instead of just trying to keep the high line. But on the other end, he didn't know what Louise was doing behind him, so Louise probably should have tracked the run better as well. But he also put up his hand. I think he should start for us the rest of the season, at least to give a chance to see what he can do continuously and consistently in this team. Any thoughts on Holding, and then just give your rating on Louise as well?
Well, Bren, I'm a big fan of Holding. I'd also like to see him start for the rest of the season. I've been saying it almost every week. I'd like to see a back four with probably Mustafi and Holding as our two centre backs. Uh, he's been out for the last few games, so I guess it takes a bit to get back into. But overall, it wasn't a bad performance, and I also hope he starts for the rest of the season. Moving on to Louise, I'll probably give him a 6 out of 10. Again, it wasn't a great performance for me. All around we were solid defensively, but there were a few moments where I was just thinking, what are you doing? On that Salah chance I was talking about, where I thought he was going to equalize, Salah just sat him down and he went to ground for no reason. There were crosses coming in straight at Louise where he would miss the header.
Mm.
Um, he said for the goal, Holding didn't know what Louise was doing behind him. So yeah, it wasn't not his best performance.
Yeah, so I just feel Louise should have just he should have sticked closer to Robertson. I think he gave him too much time and space, and you could see exactly what Robertson was doing. So I agree with you, 6 out of 10. Not disastrous, but not the standout performance. I think someone that was a bit better than the rest of the defense is Tyranny. I think a 7 out of 10. as always, Mr. Reliable, we can start calling him because we know he's always going to give us at least a 7 out of 10 performance. And for most of the game, he had Mo Salah in his pocket. There were one or two occasions where Mo Salah did threaten, but I mean, he's a world class player. He'll definitely threaten any team one or two times throughout the game.
Yeah, I know Tierney's been looking very good since we've been back from Project Restart. And like you said, he had Salah to look after the whole game. And just like Holding, he had Mane to look after. So those are two very good players that our defense had to keep out. And like we all know, our defense isn't our strong point. Yeah, very very happy with Tierney again.
And Cedric,
Cedric, yes, I feel he could have also done better with the goal. Um,
mm,
we did. He he does look good going forward, but in this game he didn't go forward at all. Um, so he didn't play to his strengths. But overall, not the worst of performances. I'll also
mm.
probably give him 6.5.
Yeah, I think what we've got with Cedric is we've got a proper competition for Bellerin, and I hope it continues to push Bellerin because I think Cedric's also always going to give you a 6.5 thereabouts. I think he's going to be one of those reliable guys, like almost like a Nacho Monreal, which he always performs. Maybe not to Nacho's standards, but I think he'll definitely pile on the pressure, and Bellerin needs to step up, otherwise he'll sit on the bench. And on the other side, Saka, I think Saka worked hard. I'm going to give him a 6.5 as well, not as influential going forward as always, but he did work hard tracking back, making sure that Trent, yeah, it was DAA's side, didn't wasn't too much of a menace down that right hand side over the night. Um, yeah,
Yeah, well, I definitely think the left side of our defense did look better than our right side. So I think Saka and Tierney did quite well on the night.
right, and then we've got Torreira for his first start of the well in 6 months basically.
Yeah, well, like you said, it was his first start in 6 months, so we couldn't have expected too much, and he didn't give us too much. Yeah, Torre was his usual self. He was uh, very active. He was on the heels of the players all the time. He was looking for the ball. He was looking to steal the ball, win it back. It was just basically what we know Torre to be. So I'd also probably only give him a 6 out of 10.
Yeah, well, I really hope to see Torreira putting his hand up, but like you said, it's difficult to expect a player on his first start for so long to come back and really dominate that midfield. But it's someone I would like to see stay at the club long term, and he really needs to start, impressing Arteta if he wants to be part of Arteta's plans. So I agree with you, Xhaka. Xhaka, it's difficult, but I'll probably give him a 6.5. Also, not that he did anything wrong, nothing spectacular. That is, he tracked back. And like we said, with most of our players recently, it's an average score throughout. I think they haven't dropped, their performances as much, but they haven't really given us something to talk home about, take. So,
And I agree with you, Bren. It wasn't one of his better performances. I think the last few games he did play much better than he did against Liverpool. But I also think it would be unfair to give him the same rating as Torreira because I feel he was the better between the midfield duo.
yeah. All right. And then we go into our front three. So, I want to give you Nelson. I'll do Pepe.
Well, it was a very good decision to bring Nelson into the side. We all know he's quite known for his defensive work on the right side, as well as he's very good going forward. Even though over the season we haven't seen as much of him going forward, but that high press between him and Lacazette worked really well. He might not have got the assist for Lacazette, but it was him pressing Van Dijk that forced him to make the mistake.
Mm.
And Lacazette basically did the same for Same for
Yeah.
Nelson. He intercepted the ball off Allison's pass, and Nelson obliged, and he scored the goal. So I think Nelson, I think he can be happy with his performance. I'll probably give him a 7.5.
Yeah, I think Nelson really gave, sorry, I'd say it's a selection headache coming up against Man City because he showed that he can't, he's not only a hard worker, he also has that finishing touch if you give him the right opportunity. And going on to Pepe, I think he worked hard. Um, he didn't see much of the ball, but when he had the ball, he didn't really do much. He wasn't as threatening as he was against Tottenham or in any of his previous games so far. So I'll probably have to give him 5.5 out of 10. Like I said, he did work hard, but I would like to see a 72 million pound player. You know, it's almost the end of his first year. He needs to be settled down. I think we need to start seeing some real, even not if it's not in product, he needs to give the defenders more problems, especially when we're on the back foot like this.
Yeah, no, I definitely agree with you, Bren. But I don't think this was a game that suited Pepe, especially playing on the left side of the pitch. I think it might have been a bit better decision to play someone else on the centre back role in place of Tierney, push Tierney to left wing back, and push Chuck up to left wing. So Alba still could get the rest. Pepe could rest, and both of them could be, ready to go for Man City this weekend.
Mm.
But yeah.
All right, and then the last of the starting 11 obviously is Lacazette.
Well, like I said, I'm really happy with Lacazette. I'm a big fan of him. I actually hope we keep him and Aubameyang. I think there are no problems with our attack. It's our midfield and our defense that we need to sort out. Uh, well, obviously, if it's easier to say that when Lacazette has been scoring goals.
Mm.
This hasn't been his best goal scoring season, but over the last few games, I think it's three in his last four now. He's been on form, so I'm really happy with him. I think I also it's between him and Martinez for man of the match for me. So I'll probably have to give him an 8.
All right, I'll make the decision for you easier. I think we should give Lacazette a 9 out of 10. Um, just because he had a goal and he had an assist, he created an assist. So that's two big contributions. And what I really start, well, what we've seen from Lacazette is he scores in the big matches. He produces in the big matches. I think if you have to go back and look at the last what 3 years he's been at the club, he's probably this person that scored the most goals, against the top six opposition. Look at Tottenham, he scored. I remember the last time we played Liverpool at Anfield, he scored. So I think he just always, even though he's not always on the best of form and not that clinical, he steps up in the big occasions. And I think we've not really had a player like that for the last couple of years. So for
Oh,
that
that's good.
reason,
Yeah, he has been known to score some very big goals in big matches. But that's good news for the weekend. Obviously, let's hope he keeps it up.
yeah, well, I haven't, I'm not sure how many he's scored against City, but I know against the big six, he usually steps up. So
I think
let's
he
hope he.
scored one against City.
So City might be the one he struggled against the most, unfortunately for us. But let's hope he changes that. Like he changed his away form. Like he didn't score for 17 months, and now he's scored in two consecutive away games. So let's hope he continues changing the trend. All right. Then the substitutes. So the first substitute that came on, yeah, I need to think. It was it Ceballos for Torreira,
Yes,
I
it was.
believe.
It was like in the 52nd minute or something like that. Um, Sabas has been looking good defensively. I think his talents are going forward, but we haven't seen too much of that since he's joined on loan. But I think his defensive duties he did well. He actually came to be physical, and I haven't known Sabas to be that type of player. So I think he actually read the atmosphere of the game well and he did his job, but also not the biggest of impact. So I think we can give him a 6 out of 10.
Yeah, I think he was really snappy in the midfield, made a few crucial tackles. Not much going forward, like you mentioned already, but I think he did what he needed to do on the night, especially. And then we had a triple substitution, which was Oba, it was Maitland-Niles, and Willock came on. I don't think we can give them another rating than a 5 or 6 out of 10. I think Oba was quite quiet, but he had a key touch where he set up Willock, where Willock probably should have scored. And Willock looked quite dangerous throughout, running around in that sort of false nine free role that Lacazette played throughout the night. And Maitland-Niles also, maybe Mane was tired, but I don't think we saw Mane once Maitland-Niles came on that right wing back position.
Well, there was one very dangerous chance that Mane created, running in behind Maitland-Niles, but like you said, overall, I think Maitland-Niles did quite well.
Yeah, well, I think he just had that. He just bumped him when Mane was trying to shoot, which was a very subtle and very clever, you know, intervention. Well, obviously because he wasn't caught, so he wasn't penalized for it. So,
Yeah.
and then I think the last player to come on quite late was Kolasinac for Saka.
Mm.
Yeah, I think just give him a 5 out of 10 again. Didn't do anything wrong and wasn't on long enough to, to really influence the game in any
Yeah.
way.
Yeah.
Right. Quickly, maybe just wrap up with a rating for Arteta on United. What are your thoughts on the manager and his selections?
Well, it's difficult to give him anything else than a 10 out of 10, I think he could have done a few things maybe a bit differently, but we're one of three teams this season to beat the champions, and we also stopped them from reaching the century of on points tally there with the other records they were in the running for, and we stopped all of that. Although we defended the whole game, we didn't create a lot of opportunities. The first 20 minutes, Liverpool dominated. The second half, Liverpool dominated. But those he kept the belief in the players. Everyone understood their role. They knew that it was going to have to be from a press. The whole team's going to have to defend hard and press hard for us to have a chance in this game. And so I think he made the right decisions.
Okay, I'm I disagree with that 10 out of 10 rating, but I'm not gonna go into that at the moment. I feel, like I said, I might come across as a bit negative on this podcast because I've always got something to say or to moan about. But that's it for the Liverpool review, right? Now we can look ahead to probably our only big match left this season. Well, depending on what the result is or the outcome of that match is obviously. But we play Man City in the FA Cup semi-final, which is a quite a strange time. I think South African time it's 8:15 on a Saturday night, so that's probably 7:15 UK time, which is a very strange time I think to kick off, especially this big match, because I feel it's a tradition, especially in the UK, where they've got afternoon football and people go out, to pubs or whatever night.
Yeah, well, City is obviously going to be a very difficult game. We played them first game back in the restart. It's a bit tough to go on that game because of what happened. Murray got injured very early, Zaka got injured very early, Luis got a red card. So it's a bit difficult to go on, but City is a very strong side, so it's difficult to be positive about this one. But also saying we've got good success in the FA Cup. Wembley is like a second home for us. So there are some positives to take ahead of the game, but we'll have to wait and see what happens.
The last time we won the FA Cup in 2017, we played City in the semi-finals and we met Chelsea in the finals. So it's a very big possibility that we might walk the same route that we did. Obviously, the teams are a bit different manager, different situations. But as much as I disliked the performance against Liverpool, I think Arteta got a blueprint on what we can implement against City. I think it's going to be a very similar style where City's going to dominate possession. They're probably going to dominate chances created. and we'll have to be clinical on the counter attack.
Yeah, well, we all know that we've got plenty of attacking talent. It doesn't really matter which front three we start. I think our front three is probably going to be the best players on the pitch for Arsenal. And like you said, we'll probably just try and get all 10 players behind the ball and just try and keep City out, and hopefully we can just nag the win off the counter attack.
Well, okay, so you mentioned the front three, and the best front three would probably start for us. Let's go on to possible changes to the from the Liverpool starting 11. Who do you think we can expect to come into this Arsenal side to face City on the weekend?
Yes, well, it's actually very difficult to make any subs after beating Liverpool. The only sub I would expect to see is Sabah's coming on for Torreira, obviously,
Mm.
and then I'd expect Alba to start, obviously, but I'm not sure in whose place. My gut feeling would probably say Pepe,
Mm.
and I think he'll give Nelson the start.
Yeah, and I think we'll probably see Bellerin on the right-hand side.
Yeah, yeah.
And a big decision that Arteta's got to make, and obviously he likes Mustafi a lot, is if he's gonna take out Mustafi, or sorry, take out Holding and bring Mustafi back in. Or potentially what he could do is shift, but then you'd have to drop Saka, but you could shift Holding to the left-hand side, bring Mustafi back, and put Tierney on the left wing back position. But I feel that the back three that we had against Liverpool probably worked the best out of all of this, the back three we've seen since the restart, or since we started using the three at the back. Let me say it that way.
Yeah, well, Bren, there's definitely a few different ways we could line up, but like I said, it's a difficult one to call. I agree with you with Beren. He'll probably be back into the starting lineup. I'd actually like to see a back three of Holding and Mustafi, at least the two, and then with Louise or Tierney as the other centre back. Um, yeah, but it's also difficult to drop Saka. I know it wasn't his best performance. That might be a way to justify it. But yeah, I'm glad I don't have to pick with him because I think it's a difficult one for this weekend.
What was interesting for me, especially taking the Liverpool game in mind, is even though Tierney is a more natural left wing back or left back than Kolasinac is, he's also a much better third centre back than Kolasinac. So if someone like Kolasinac might come back into the team, I would prefer him to be the left wing back position and not the left centre back. I'd rather keep Tierney right there where he was. He was much more, and I think with someone like Mahrez or probably Bernardo Silva or whichever attacking talent comes from that right hand side, I'd feel much safer with Tierney in that position.
Well, I agree and disagree with you, Bren. I do feel Tierney is a better third centre back than Kolasinac, but I'd also rather see him on left wing back. We've seen that Tierney doesn't have a problem running up and down the pitch throughout the game, and I feel having Kolasinac on the left wing back it kind of nullifies our attacking talent on the left hand side because I don't feel Kolasinac has any end product, especially with crosses. So I'd rather see Tierney help out Aubameyang in the attack.
Yeah, well, I'd probably prefer, like you mentioned before, the Saka staying there and Tierney or someone else being there. But I'm just giving scenarios, seeing who's been Arteta's favorites, and unfortunately, it looks like Kolasinac is one of his preferred choices in that back three role. Right, let's go on to score predictions. I don't know. This is a tough one to call. I'll start because I always wait until till last, and then you guys have taken the most of the most accurate score lines. It's very difficult going on our form of late, looking at Tottenham, looking at Liverpool. Let's hope we get another 2-1 victory at the Wembley on Saturday. What are you going to go with?
Yes, well, Bren, it is a very difficult one, Even though we beat Liverpool, it's very, very hard for me. Well, very difficult for me to see us beating City. But I'm gonna back my team, and I'll go for 2-2 draw in the 90 minutes and extra time, and hopefully we pull it through on penalties.
Well, I'm not sure. I haven't seen the stats, but I know like Petr when he was at Arsenal, he had only saved one penalty throughout his career, or one or two penalties. And I'm pretty sure Leno hasn't done much better since he's joined the club. So, oh, Martinez is starting in any case. So
Yeah. Yeah,
it's
Martinez hasn't had too many opportunities to try and save penalties. But just
it's
touching on that Leno situation, I haven't seen him save a penalty for Arsenal yet, which is quite strange because he came with quite a reputation for saving penalties before he came to Arsenal, and that just hasn't pulled through yet.
it seems like Arsenal goalkeepers have a bit of a jinx on them because I know Peter Cech also had quite a good penalty record when he was playing for Chelsea, and one of his key moments for Chelsea is winning the Champions League against Bayern Munich. I think he saved something like three spot kicks on the night. So yeah, it seems to be a bit of an Arsenal curse, unfortunately. All right. Do you want to have a look at the City team? I don't feel we need to touch on them because we probably know what type of lineup they're all gonna put out. So Aguero is probably still not available. They'll have Jesus up top, and the rest of the team probably chooses itself. So
Yeah, well, it is difficult actually to also pick City's lineup, because their squad runs so deep. They've got talent in abundance. A lot of the players that start the game on the bench would start in our team. But like you said, there are a lot of players that pick themselves. Like Jesus, he's obviously going to start. I can't see the Bren not starting. I can't see Rodri not starting.
Sterling starting.
Sterling starting. Right side it would probably be Mahrez, I'm guessing. So yeah.
It's yeah. They're like I don't think they need to go into too much detail regarding the City team. This is the Arsenal Fan Theory podcast anyway, so we'll stay into what we know best. And for anyone that's watching, we launched a new segment, or we're still figuring out exactly what it is, but where we do like a full Premier League review and preview, and a bit of transfer news included. Renier joined Michael tonight. We'll post that episode probably before the weekend's action, so keep an eye out for that. Remember to like, share, subscribe. Mike, as always, thanks for joining.
Thanks, Brian. It's always a pleasure to be here. I just want to touch on that other section of the show. Like you said, we're still figuring it out. We'll probably want to do a whole one episode that's a Premier League review and preview, and maybe one episode that's transfer. But tonight we did both, So we're still figuring out how we're gonna go with that one going forward.
Right, we're excited to see where that goes, and obviously excited to see if we can continue growing this channel. And we'll see everyone soon. Thanks.